So, have you ever thought if it is possible the total freedom of each limb and how much we can push our independence playing the drum? There are some drummers that reach a level of independence very extreme, but up to what limit we can study and we can develop our independence? So let's break into it. First of all, I want to distinguish between these two terms. One is independence and the other is interdependence. So interdependence means that while we are playing a limb, our movement is related to the movement of the other limbs, and that is actually what is happening while we are playing the drum. So we are playing one limb and the other limbs are moving accordingly to that limb to create something that is musical. But independence maybe would be something like while we are drinking a coffee and we are shaving, we are also playing a pattern of a clave with our left foot. So that will be independence, total freedom of the limbs. And it's not that. Every limb's movement is related to each other limbs. So let's see in specific what we can do with our limbs. So for me, independence is a matter of variables. So less the variables and simple the pattern. The variables are two. One is the number of limbs that are involved in the movement, and two is the length of the phrase that we are playing. The simplest pattern that we can do is playing one limb that play the shortest phrase that we can. So would be a 1/4 phrase. Then we can have the 2/4 phrase, 3/4, 4/4, that will be a 1 bar, and then we have 2 bar, 3 bars, and so until we reach the total freedom of that limb. And the minimum is 1 limb, and the 4 limb will be our maximum. So the most easy movement is 1 limb and 1 movement, like this. This is a quarter on the downbeat and it's repeated every quarter, so it's the most simple movement that we can do. And starting from that, we can push through the total freedom of this limb. So when our right hand is playing totally free, we reached the maximum level. And with 1 limb is pretty easy to do, and from this step we can add another limb, so would be 2 limbs like right hand and left hand. So with these 2 limbs what we can do is playing a 1/4 phrase and then explore inside this level of interdependence. And then when we are confident with that, we can start to increase the length of the phrase of one of the 2 limbs. So the maximum level of interdependence or independence of 2 limbs is that my right hand is totally improvising while my left hand is doing so. So as you can see, it's pretty extreme, that, because I cannot improvise with my right hand, with my left hand is improvising too. My right hand or my left hand movement is related to the movement of my right hand, so it's not totally free. Okay, from this point we can start adding more limbs. The 3rd limb, the right foot, or maybe 4 limbs with the left foot also. So to the maximum level, when we are playing in 4 different limbs and in each limbs are doing a different phrase, we are in the level that we can reach the maximum freedom of each limb. So what we usually do is that we lock 1 limb into 1 movement, 1 phrase, and then we start slowly increase the length of the phrase of the other limbs, until we reach the level of total freedom of improvisation. So in a case of the first, let's say the first groove that we can may learn is like a 4/4 with the left foot in downbeat, and the bass drum is doing the 1 and the 3rd, and the snare is doing the 1 and the 3rd, and maybe the right cymbal is doing a 8-note pulse. So we can start improvising with the bass drum, and so what we actually done is that we lock 3 limbs and we work on the freedom of just 1 limb. So reaching the level of every limb total freedom is pretty extreme. And I don't know if it's impossible, but for sure it's extreme. Okay, so this is just to classify the level of independence that we may have. So, for example, theoretically, it's much tough to play like a clave on the left foot, a paradiddle on the hand. So clave is 1 bar phrase, paradiddle is 2 movement phrase because it's repeated, no? And then play a tumbao on the right foot is much simpler than play a 3 to 4 pulse on the right foot, because the 3 to 4 pulse is repeated and the cycle ends in 3 bars. So is a longer phrase, should be theoretically is more tough. But we also know that with the tumbao on the bass drum is quite tricky. So my final thought on this is that I don't know if it's impossible the total freedom with every limb, but for sure we create such a chaos while we are playing that probably will not heard as a musical. So we can step way before with our independence, and we can play interdependence stuff and create some groove and pattern that are heard as musical. So because our goal is musicality, so we can step way before the total freedom of each limb to reach something that is called musical. And also I can say you that our limits are unique, so we can play with our limit to create something that is very musical, because my limits are different than your limits. So playing with it creatively and intelligently, we can create something awesome and something that is called musical on its proper way. So even for this time it's all. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you find out something that can be interesting for you, for something that you are maybe studying in this moment. And my name is Bernardo Grillo, and I'll see you next time.